Hi, I'm Liv and I'm doing the 2023 book tag. I saw Destiny Sidwell do this little tag and I thought, may as well do it. So there are 22 questions here and they're all about books and just want to chat about books basically. Number one is the most disappointed book of the year. I'm gonna have to say my most disappointing book of the year, I'm stuck between two. I think one's more disappointing for me, so I'm gonna have to say If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. I was really disappointed with this book. I saw it hyped on TikTok all the time and I was so excited to read it, and I read it in my Reading Emotional Books video. It was such a disappointment. I found it so boring basically, and it was meant to be, I thought it was going to be a heart-wrenching book, but to me it was just very long-winded, very boring. We're just following the life of the girl in there. The guy in it was barely in it, so I just wasn't interested, and the ending really miffed me off. I really didn't like the ending. I thought it was quite disgusting actually, what she ended up doing, and I basically hated it. So that is my most disappointing read of the year. My Underdog book of the year. You know what? I think this has got to be The Fifth Wave. The Fifth Wave is a book that I saw, although it's written by Rick Yancey. I saw this book all the time in my high school. Never read it. It was always in the bookshelf in the library, and it was always when people were recommending books. It wasn't a big thing back when I was in high school, but when some people recommended books, The Fifth Wave was like an adult book that was recommended, a young adult book. Fifth Wave is a dystopian book and I give it a 5-star. I read it in my Reading Dystopian Books and I adored this book. I cried, I laughed, I couldn't put this book down. It's amazing, it scared me, it was really good. So this book is about aliens. Aliens take over the world and we don't know why they're here at first, and they do these different waves. So one of them is sending a virus down to basically kill off the human race, and we're waiting for the fifth wave and we don't know what it's going to be. It's really good, it's high stakes, it's intense, there's a romance, it's heartbreaking, it is dual perspective, it's just really good and it's really fast paced. And the biggest thing in this is it's withheld information, so you're constantly second guessing everything. Amazing book, loved it, was not expecting to love it because nobody talks about it. Book that was overhyped. I do have one in mind. I have two in mind actually, so I'm gonna do two. So my first one is by Tilly Cole, and I think that's what her name is, and that is 1,000 Boy Kisses. I feel bad saying this because I did like this book. I gave it like a 4-star, but it was not as good as I expected it to be. Everyone said it was heart-wrenching, but I kind of felt like it was quite young written, and I think that might be just my fault expecting it not to be that young written, if that makes sense. It was very underwhelming. There's these two people who meet when they're kids and they fall in love with each other, and then we find out that Rune, which is the guy, ends up having to move back home, and all of a sudden the girl cuts off contact with him when he's moved home, when it's a different country, and we don't know why. He comes back and we find out the reason, and it's really gut-wrenching and obviously heart-shattering. But I felt like a lot of things that happened were a bit unrealistic for like a 16 to 18-year-old to be able to do and be able to afford. I just felt like a lot of it was quite unrealistic. And I think that was possibly because I'd read such a gut-wrenching story that was kind of similar, and that was You've Reached Sam. No, it wasn't. It was Brightside, which was similar in a way with what happened. Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like it was written quite young, and the very ending I just was like, oh, that's sweet, but why? Like, why? What happened to you then? What happened to Rune? That was a bit of a disappointment. Mainly because it was massively hyped, and I don't know, I think I was expecting something else. Also, I have to say Final Offer by Lauren Asher. People said that Final Offer was the best book out of the Dream of a Billionaire series, and I have to disagree massively. The best book in the Dream of a Billionaire series for me was Terms and Conditions, and I felt like Final Offer I just felt was rushed. Didn't like the ending really, and I just wasn't a big fan of the characters anyway. So I thought that was just massively overhyped for me. The next one is Favourite Book Couple. I don't know if I can pick just one. I have a couple in mind, so I'm gonna do my top 3. Number 1 for me is Alex and Ava from Twisted Love. I love Alex and Ava. They're the first book couple that I think I actually read. and that has like a special place in my heart. I adore them. I just feel like they balance each other out so well. It's Grumpy and Sunshine. I just adore them. You see, I can love a book but not be that obsessed with the relationship. So I was gonna say Love Redesigned, but I mainly love Julian in that book. Well, if you're wondering what I'm looking at my bookshelf with all my books on it. I also want to say Reese and Bridget from Twisted Games. I think that they are everything, and I love them. And I love that they both did so much for each other, and the fact that Reese gave up his privacy for her. I love it. I'm also gonna have to say, Icebreaker, because Icebreaker was amazing. Their couple was so good. So you've got Nate Hawkins and Anastasia, and they both are so good for each other. Nate has a complicated relationship with his dad, and Anastasia has a complicated relationship with food, and Nate's helping her work all that out, and she's an athlete, and they work together so well, and he helps her with so much, and he trusts her. That's the main thing with them two, is he completely trusts her. And that is everything to me. I feel like I'm forgetting a couple, and I feel like I'm gonna watch like this video about when I edit it, and I'm gonna be kicking myself because there is definitely a book that I have in mind, but I just can't think of the name or anything. Favorite main character. This one I think is tricky, but I think as of right now, Violet from Fourth Wing is my favourite. I really like Violet. I think she's a really interesting character. She has so many layers, so many levels, and I just think she's very interesting. I like the way she thinks. I appreciate it. Kim Holden. I'm gonna have to say Brightside by Kim Holden was a brilliant book and definitely surprised me. Brightside is a book about a girl, Kate, and she is always seen as Brightside, and she's a bright, bubbly, positive person. She goes to a college and it's her first year starting there. She's got loads of stuff in her past. She makes friends and everything. And she bumps into Keller, the copy boy. And they both have a secret, and it's kind of stopping them from being together. And when the secrets come out, they couldn't be more polar opposite secrets from each other. It's heartbreaking. I didn't expect to cry as hard as I did. When I say I cried, I was up till 2 in the morning reading it, finished it the next day, and that whole morning, I finished it in bed. I just stayed in bed crying. I just couldn't do it. It was so emotional and shattered my heart into pieces. And I always recommend it for people, like always, you should read Brightside if you're needing a book to read. Definitely Brightside, because it's just everything. And it's a book that I never stopped thinking about. So yeah. A new favourite author you discovered in 2023. I would have to say Lucy Score. I have really liked Lucy Score's writing recently, and she is someone that I have read quite a lot from recently, and I don't think there's a single book that I've been disappointed in from her. I really like her writing style, and I like it. I think she's a really good author. Happiest read of the year. You know what? I'm gonna have to say Love Redesigned. I adored that book. It was brilliant. The amount of annotating I did in that book, it was the first ever book I annotated, and the amount of love hearts in that book and firework pictures I drew in there, because it was everything. Love Redesigned is a second chance romance, childhood rivals, and it's so good. Seeing that Julian has always liked her and she's always liked him, and seeing him keep certain things from her from when they were kids, certain memories from the two of them. It was everything, and it got me emotional, but oh, I was so happy with the end of that book. It was brilliant. Most frustrating book of the year. Love and Other Words. I love Love and Other Words. However, our main guy in it, I think he's called Elliot, he was clearly had something happen to him. Right, I'm gonna say this is gonna be a spoiler warning for Love and Other Words, so if you don't want to see that, skip on a bit. So spoiler warning in 3, 2, 1. Elliot was clearly essayed. Clearly. However, it is explained in a way that says that he has cheated on her, and that is the secret that's been the secret, is that he cheated, but he didn't cheat. He was essayed. And the fact that the author never actually explicitly said he was essayed is so frustrating, because if you go on Goodreads, loads of people in their reviews review it badly because they think that he cheated, but he didn't. It's just so annoying. And we know that it wasn't cheating because there's descriptions of how he struggled to be with another girl for a long time, and still to this day he can't let a girl like give him you know what, because he's so traumatized from that happening to him when he was younger. And it frustrates me so much that the author just didn't explicitly say it is this. Best adaptation of the year. Now, I don't have a book to actually say that about because I don't think I have any books that were an adaptation. The longest book I read this year was the Mind F series by S.T. Abbey. I love that book actually as well. It was really good. It's a horror romance, dark book in general, dark academia, I'm guessing, like kinda. It's very good. It's revenge, really dark, really triggering, really traumatizing. Would highly recommend. This book I read was Miles Ever After by Teal. Oh my god, words are hard right now. Miles Ever After by T.L. Swan. I read this because this is the last book in the Miles High Club, which is a book series about these Miles brothers who are all brothers and they work for the Miles Company, and the last book is just a wrap up of every single brother's story. It's just like the ending, the little epilogue afterwards. Favourite book covers? Let's have a look through, because they have them like displayed out in this like a year in books thing, like you have them all displayed there for you. So I'm just gonna look through and see. There's probably a couple that I adore the book covers of, so let's just have a little look. Okay, I think I've got a couple that I love. So first is Love Redesign by Lauren Asher. I think that book looks really pretty. I love the purples. I love how it's like looks like a scrapbook almost, because the whole point of that book is that they're both designing a house together. I just love that. It really imitates what happens in the book, and I like that. I also love that cover. Okay, I also love You've Reached Sam. The cover for that book, it's heartbreaking. So obviously you've got one side it's Julie and the other side it's Sam, and you can see their hands are connecting and they've both got a phone, because the whole point of that book is that they can talk together still even though Sam has died through a phone call. But how long is that phone call going to last? How long is that connection going to stay connected? So it's just heartbreaking. And the cherry blossom, when that's mentioned in the book, and then the little leaves of it in Sam's side. I'm just remembering quotes now from that book and it's making me emotional. A book you haven't stopped thinking about. Well, I think it's pretty obvious. You've Reached Sam. I love that book, and I also love Brightside. It's always the emotional ones stick with me. And You've Reached Sam though, especially, it broke my heart into pieces. So You've Reached Sam is about Julie and Sam. It follows Julie. Julie's boyfriend Sam died not long ago, and they both hadn't graduated high school. They had their lives planned out ahead of them. They were going to go to university together, live together, have a future, and it all gets ruined when Sam dies in a car accident. And she rings his voicemail one last time to hear his voice, and Sam picks up from the other side. And it's a book about grief, and she needs to say goodbye to him and get over it in her own way. And it's so emotional. I was crying throughout the book. I read it again with my reading emotional books, and it honestly gets me every time. I just love that book. Cringiest book you read of this year? Again, I'm gonna look at my Goodreads because there has to be something. Cringiest book I have read. There is one that comes to mind, and that has to be Lassoed into Love. I got this book. It's by Rachel Elkia. Oh my goodness. By the way, You've Reached Sam is written by Dustin Teo, but Lassoed into Love I got as a free book on, what's it called? Is it eBooks Day? Stuff your ebook day, stuff your Kindle day. I got it then, and it was honestly really annoying. It was written, I'll be honest, like really young. It comes across written like for younger people, and I just found the whole thing really cringy. Didn't enjoy it much. I think I probably gave it about 3 stars. Just wasn't a big fan of it really. But unpopular book that you loved. Again, gonna look through here. You know what? There is one. For the Fans by Nyla K. I adored this book. So this book is about 2 stepbrothers who haven't really been stepbrothers for long, and they end up having to create an OnlyFans for a reason, and they have sparks, and one of them is very much straight, and it's about him trying to find himself and like figure out what is going on with me, and there's like a coming out section and everything. Oh, it's an emotional read, and I just thought it was going to be very much just saucy, but the storyline is everything. I really enjoyed it, and it was actually, I think, one of my first 5 stars of the year. I think it was my first 5-star. The highest and lowest book you read on Goodreads. I think that means like rated. Highest and lowest rated books. Oh, highest rated on Goodreads was Mind F series by St. Abbey. I liked that book a lot, and I can see why it was one of the highest rated. I don't know what the lowest rated is though, I will be honest, I'm not sure. Favourite quotes of the year? Interesting. Favourite quotes? Of course I've got the one from You've Reached Sam that I always said, which is "Don't forget me, okay?" I love that quote, and it makes me incredibly emotional. That is so sad. So in the first part of the book there's a quote that says, "Sometimes I wish the sun would never set, so we could stay here enjoying each other's company, talking like we always do, laughing at inside jokes, pretending that nothing could ever go wrong." It's supposed to end like this. This was just the beginning. Our story has barely started. My heart pounds inside my chest. I squeeze Sam's hand harder to keep him from leaving. You won't just leave again. I promise, Julie. I'll stay as long as I can. I know you're here, Sam. I can feel you because you're everywhere. You were back in the coffee shop, there at the lake, summer waiting in these fields. All this time I've been wondering why we've been given this second chance, but maybe we've always been connected. You're wrong about something. You did leave your mark on the world, Sam. You left a mark on me. I'll never forget you. Oh no, I've read a really sad one. You're my entire world, Julie, and one day maybe I'll only be a small piece of yours, and I hope you keep that peace. Okay, well now I'm an emotional wreck. Oh no, this is not meant to be an emotional moment. I guess I really loved that book. Book with the most unique concept. I'd have to say that I've got 2. So You've Reached Sam for me is one because of the whole phone call, being able to like connect you to somebody from beyond the grave and having to say goodbye. It was a book basically about closure. I love that concept and I thought it was really, really good. But I also loved the duo book series of The First to Die at the End and They Both Die at the End. So the whole idea was a death cast where a call gets sent out to all the people that are going to die one day, and every day these calls go out to tell you you're going to die today, and you don't know when it's going to happen, but you know it's going to be on that day. And I loved the first book with They Both Die at the End, and the fact that they're both trying to do as much as they can in that last day they have, because they don't know what moment's going to be their last moment. So having as many adventures they can that day. And I just thought it was a really good book. And we have a little romance there as well. A book you would reread. Honestly, I think I've got so many books I would reread. I would reread You've Reached Sam and have a lovely cry session. Love Redesigned, probably. Fourth Wing would be really good. I really like that book. I'm trying to think of other things. I've got those on my Kindle as well. I think there's loads of books in general that I'd love to reread and just experience again for the first time, or even just re-experience. I think that'd be really, really good. But yeah, as I said, those books for the fans would be a great one. It's just such an underrated book. I love it. Reading goal, reflection, and 2024 reading goal. So my reading goal for 2023 changed all the time. And my reading goal, I think, was 25 books. No, 75 books. How did I get that wrong? 75 or 70 books. I think it was 75. And I managed to read 78 books. So I definitely passed the challenge and I'm very, very happy about that. And I started reading in May, so that is basically like 3/4 of the year I managed to read for. So I decided for my 2024 reading challenge, I'm going to read 100 books, if possible. Of course, if I don't think it's going to happen, it's just not going to happen. That's completely fine. But I'd like to read 100 books. And if I want to read 100 books, I need to read about 8 or 9 books every month. And I do think that's doable. I mean, considering, I think it showed me how many books I read in June, I think, or July. I read about 15 books and I did not expect it to be that high a number. I was like, wait, what? So I have read a lot of books in some months. Some months though I did read like 5 books. So as long as I read, I'm aiming for 5 books a month. As long as I read 5 plus wow. As long as I read 5 books plus a month, I will be happy. And I think that's doable for me, I really do. And so that's why I've got such a high goal on there of 100 books, just to keep me like striving for that goal, instead of setting 10 and then moving it and moving it and moving it, which is what I did last year. I'd like just a really strong goal of 100 and just see how far I can get. What are you prioritising in 2024 with your reading? I would like to read as much as I possibly can, but I would really like to branch out into fantasy. I would really love to. So I have started the Fourth Wing series, which there is a 3rd book coming out, by the way, I'm pretty sure, just to let you know. But I would really like to read the Akatar series. I'd like to read Powerless. There are loads of bits and pieces I want to read. The Throne of Glass series. Loads of stuff that I would like to start, and I would just really love to get into fantasy fully and just go for it. So I want to start reading in January, read all the way to December. I just really want to go for it this year and just have a full year of reading, because last year I read since May and I just liked this year to start from January. I just want to feel accomplished and do it. That is all the questions. I hope you enjoyed. I'll put the questions down below, so if you want to answer them, go ahead in the comments. I would love to hear your answers, and I'll see you guys next time with another video. There will be a video up pretty soon. I do 2 uploads a week, by the way. I never say this, but I do 2 uploads a week on a Thursday and a Sunday, and I always try and get those up, and this year especially I'm trying to get them up. Subscribe down below and do all that stuff, liking and commenting. Go check out some old videos. I am at 500 subscribers right now, a bit over, but thank you so much for that. I'm aiming at 600 this time for this year, and I'll see you guys soon with another video. Subscribe to all the stuff that I've said, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodreads is linked below, the questions will be below, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!